Welcome to Mystical Mothers Magical Children podcast, where I share wisdom, magic, and practical ways to align with your own inner mystic to raise intuitive, highly sensitive, and gifted children. I'm your host, Dr. Diana, and as a mystical mama, I tap in to share guidance on raising magical beings. Hi, beloved ones. I wanted to take a moment to host this episode to share a little bit about what you have to know when it comes to supporting and nurturing highly sensitive kids. And towards the end, I will share some strategies with you that you can begin implementing right away. So, I want to start by highlighting that the gift that being highly sensitive is. I'm one of them, and I'm sure you're one of them too. If you're really curious about how to support your child, you're probably a highly sensitive person yourself or your partner. And so I wanted to share that being highly sensitive is a gift, and it's a gift that allows us to connect with others around us, our family, adults, our friends, our siblings, at a deeper level. We are the people who tend to have a deeper awareness to the subtleties even of others' emotions and their environments, which tends to also allow us to have a deeper relationship with the people who are connected to us, right? And so if you probably can relate to this, or you know of someone who has a harder time having surface level conversations, right? Because they tend to be the ones that feel deeper, or who love to have a deeper conversation around topics that are meaningful not only to them, but meaningful to the people around them, or meaningful to what's happening in the world. They like to go deep. Okay. So, when it comes to children as well, you'll find that they like to ask the deeper questions, right? They like to really form this meaningful and heartfelt connection with you. And people and children who are highly sensitive to you'll notice that they tend to gravitate towards um, people or even animals that they connect with at a deeper level. And or they tend to have these sixth sense feelings about events that are happening in the world, or even just from an astrological perspective for what's happening in the ethers. They have this sixth that, even if they can't explain it, right, they tend to feel a little bit more different and have a deeper awareness around what's happening around them, even beyond this world. And so these are the types of people where you, or children especially, that you want to know how to honor and foster and nurture their sensitivity. And so one of the quickest examples I can think of is, let's say you have a child, I don't know, they're 8 or 9, or even teenager, right? Or younger. It doesn't matter. And you decide to take them for their birthday, you decide to take them shopping at a mall. And this malls tend to be noisy. Malls tend to have a lot of stores, a lot of scents and around them, right? A lot of choices, even a lot of people. And all of those things mounted up can be overwhelming for a highly sensitive child. And you're taking them for their birthday, and you may not be aware that all of these things, because I mean you're busy, right? You're moving from one store to another, looking at items and testing different things, trying on different things. And so at a point, all of the senses of the child becomes overwhelmed, especially if they're highly sensitive, especially to if sometimes highly sensitive people can be aversive to certain sounds or loud sounds or smells or being around so many people. And so, all of these things agitates their nervous system, right? And to the point, I would be even surprised where if they make it home without like melting down or without crying or feeling overwhelmed. So these things are things to be aware of. And as parents living through life and who may not even be aware they have a hint, right? Or may not be aware that their child is a highly sensitive person, may not either know the tools or may not even be aware that their child is overwhelmed, right? They might be, oh, here's another tantrum that my child is having because, I took them to the store, or here we go again, right? And without recognizing that their senses are overwhelmed and it's too much. So in those instances, what are some things, some tools, right, that parents can do to nurture and support their child, their highly sensitive child? Even before we get to using the tools, what are the instances where you can put your child in an environment or in a context where they are successful, right? So let's wind it back to, again, taking your child to the mall because you want to take them shopping for their birthday and you want them to find something that they love. What are different ways, thinking about then, what are different ways that you can set your child up for success, still accomplishing the same goal of taking them shopping? Maybe taking them at a different time during the day where the mall is less busy. Maybe not going to many stores at the mall, right? Maybe taking them to one store, maybe like an outlet mall where you're not inside the mall, right? But you can go in and out for each store, and have the option of stepping away to go back to the car to go home, right? Or just going to one store or two stores and being okay with that, or even asking them if they're a little bit older, what store are you wanting to go to, right? There are different ways of, I would say the foundation is setting your highly sensitive child up for success, right? By setting up the context of where they're going so that their nervous system feel regulated, they are comfortable, right? To an extent where they can actually participate and engage in the activity of going shopping for their birthday. And when you set them up for success that way, it's a win-win because then you both are successful, right? And the meeting the end goal. And so, but when that doesn't happen, or where there are circumstances where it is a lot and is outside of your control, right? Where it is outside of your control to change the context or shift the context in a way that supports your highly sensitive child. Let's talk about then, what are some regulation tools that you can implement to help support your child in the moment and even after this whole process of feeling overwhelmed happened. And so I always start with the breath. And I know sometimes it may sound cliche, or it may be something that, many people think, okay, well, this doesn't work for me. There are so many different ways of engaging the breath that it and it's the first thing that we have, right? Besides gadgets or external things, the breath is the first thing that we have. And so thinking about different ways that you can engage the breath and having your child come back to their breath, and they don't even have to change anything. It could just be as simple as, oh my goodness, you're feeling overwhelmed right now. Let's just hear how we're breathing. Let's listen to our breath and see if that can help calm us down, right? It doesn't have to be like take 3 full breaths with me and exhale with me. Just let's listen to our breath. Or can you hear my breath? Can you hear my breathing? Right? Just keep it simple as that. And then the other thing I would like to mention, and for me as an occupational therapist, this is something I share with parents all the time, especially with children that I see who have high sensory needs, which is very similar to someone who is highly sensitive. It will come off as there are certain adaptations that as a parent you can do to support them feeling overwhelmed. These are sensory needs as well. So highly sensitive people, HSPs, do have some sensory regulation tools and needs that can be implemented within the household or while traveling, right? But one of the ones that I tend to have parents use and implement within their homes with the children I work with is having a safe, sacred space in the home that the child knows that that is theirs. So if they're feeling, so that when they're feeling overwhelmed, they know that they can go to that space and it has all of the things that they need in order to come back to a more calm state of being. So, for example, that safe space or that sensory space or calm space can have things like soft pillows, access to music, like listening to music, dimmed lights, if that is something that your child needs, or even different light plays around. Well, they sell these boxes where they can change the lighting, where it could be stars or dim or swirlies where it's more calm. Having maybe even a box where they know if they open it up, they have different things that makes them happy, but also helps to calm them, like a drawing pad if they're artists, or visual tactile things like squeezy toys, or even things that are that has scents like lavender can be calming for some children, or even earthy scents that can help ground the child. So think about different things that your child may like, even snacks, right? You can have a little snack bin in the calm area, right? That non-perishable snacks that you can include in the bin that the child knows that they can go to and access, like things like crunchy can be calming for some kids, right? Or so just your child best. But I would say create a corner where it's sacred. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be very simple. Start with pillows, soft pillows, right? Or stuffed animals, and slowly you and the child can work on adding to that according to their like and their needs. The other thing that I would incorporate is something I call the energy reset, or energy reset ritual, where let's say you and your child and maybe even your family have come from a party, right? Where a party can be highly stimulating, and you come home how are you resetting, right? What does your child need in order to feel back, like they can get back to center? And so one of the things could be maybe y'all do a little dance or a little shimmy before entering the home, or even brushing off the energy off your hands, even before entering the home or when you enter the home, brushing the energy off, or having a calming bath, right? A nice warm bath, or even a nice warm drink or tea. So think about ways that you or in your child, or you can help your child have an energy reset when they come from stimulating environments or stimulating spaces where it was beyond your control, but you can do something to help reset your highly sensitive child. And then one of the other things which I really try to remind parents of is this concept of co-regulation. So how are you keeping centered in order to nurture and protect and hold space for your child? So maybe it's doing some of the things that I've mentioned, but maybe you should have your own calm space and calm room or calm corner, as well, or think about different ways that helps to reset you so that you can be fully present with your child when they are having overwhelming experiences, right? So that you can stay present and supportive in the process. And I would say that is the power of co-regulation, being able to be fully there and present for your child so that they feel supported by you. So I would ask you, after listening to this episode, to think of one thing, and it could be things that I've mentioned here, right? On ways that you can support and nurture your highly sensitive child so that they are successful in the context that they're in. And if it's something that's outside of your control, how are you supporting them to help reset their center, reset their nervous system so that they are not in constant overwhelm?
If you have not yet followed me on social media, please see the links below to follow me on Instagram at Mystical Mothers Magical Children, or on Facebook Mystical Mothers Magical Children. I am creating a very special program for you, so please get on the priority list so that you're the first to find out when the portal opens for this program.